Before I start this video, I just want to say that this video is fair use, so any media that is used in a transformative way, and everything I say is alleged, and all the information I use is public information. So the first thing I want to talk about is Shane Dawson. I'm sure you've already heard about this, but basically what happened is Shane surprised Trisha Paytas by going to her house during quarantine for her birthday. And Trisha tweeted about this saying, "I got a surprise while staying 6 feet apart. Party of a lifetime tonight. Shane and Ryland's unconditional love and support is what family is all about. Thank you guys for being so thoughtful. This was the best birthday to date, hands down." And in case y'all don't know, just because you're 6 feet apart from somebody doesn't mean that you're not going to risk getting or giving the coronavirus by going to their house. And people are saying there are people who can't have funerals for passed away family members and they think they need to go over to Trisha's for her birthday. That's stupid. Shane has expressed being scared of the virus and scared of Ryland even going to the grocery store, yet they're not worried about going to people's houses. It doesn't make sense. I haven't even gone to my own family's homes. My partner doesn't go to grocery stores. It's only been me. This is a bad choice and even stupider to post about it. My grandma just passed from COVID. We can't have a funeral. We weren't even allowed to see her for the 4 weeks she was in the hospital fighting the virus. It's disrespectful to those who have been affected by COVID. I've been a supporter of Shane's for the better half of a decade, but he's been crossing a lot of lines for me personally in the last couple of years. This isn't minuscule. Educated health professionals are telling us to be cautious and they've blatantly ignored it. Being 6 feet apart in public spaces passing by, not in somebody's home, we will be sitting on and touching different surfaces. My grandpa was alone in the emergency room because nobody was allowed to see him because of social distancing. But God forbid Trisha can't celebrate her birthday and her friends can't come to see her. Another thing that Trisha did for her birthday was she made a video saying donating $32,000 charities. I'm not sure which charity she donated to, but I'm pretty sure it had something related to do with one of her past scandals. I say past, but like one of her recent scandals. And people are trying to say that this is her way of apologizing, but donating money is not an apology. Yes, it's a good thing to donate to charities, but that's not an apology. And $32,000 is like barely a dent in her bank account. If you've watched David's vlogs in the past couple years, you will know that she has spent $50,000 on her birthday parties and $100,000 on her birthday parties. She said that $50,000 was her going low. So spending $32,000 on a charity is barely anything for her. And she's still pretending to have DID, uploading those Chick-fil-A videos where she tries a Chick-fil-A sandwich for the first time several times, pretending to be different alters. But one actual apology she made was to Stephanie Sue, and she made a post about it on Instagram saying that she was not in a good headspace because she was doing drugs or something. But now she's sober and she loves Stephanie. But then she also made a video saying conspiracy theories about Stephanie Sue, which called her a drama queen. For those of you who don't know, she's a drama queen because Nick, a person that she trusted to come to her house, took photos of her security system and uploaded them to the internet where hackers can then break into the security system from the outside. And she has been very, very clear that that's a big thing for her, and she doesn't trust many people to come into her home because of past issues with security that she's had. So the next thing I want to talk about is Bandy Melville, which for those of you who don't know is a one-size-fits-all store, which it isn't, but I'm going to get into that later. People have had problems with them in the past because their models are pretty much all white. They've been a fashion brand for over 10 years, and I think I've only seen maybe 2 or 3 models of color for Bandy Melville. But they also have a very big loyal fan base of obviously skinny white girls who will sell basic clothing from Bandy Melville on Depop for several $100s, saying that it's vintage or that it's real, which it isn't. You can watch the video from Els Garrett about it where she proves that a lot of those things weren't actually rare because she had several of them. For example, stickers that were sold for like tens of dollars were branded as rare or vintage, and she had like 5 of them on a laptop. So back to the one-size-fits-all thing. This is what somebody who works there, I'm not quite sure what their position is. I know it's really high up. What they said is, we can satisfy almost everybody, but not everybody. The one-size-fits-most clothing might turn off somebody if they don't walk into the store, but if you walk in, you'll find something, even if it's a bag. The brand's one size typically corresponds to a size 0. I mean, it's no secret that Bandy Melville only caters to skinny people, but this is just kind of proof that they don't really care because their one size means their bags can fit anyone. They have also supposedly been stealing designs. So there's this girl called Grace on Depop, and she buys a lot of things on Depop, and the clothes that she buys looks very, very similar to the clothes that are sold at Brandy. And people think that this account is actually just somebody at Brandy buying clothes so that they can steal the designs or get inspired by the designs. And that's obviously really far-fetched, but then somebody found a review to that person saying thank you Stefan, and Stefan's, he's like one of the founders or something, and they also have a history of stealing designs and clothes from small artists, and some of them are kind of excusable, like you could just say they thought of the same idea, but some of the other designs are just blatantly obvious that they stole from small artists, such as this Whatever Forever design and this kind of crying weather sky face thing. And another example of having a history of stealing is that Forever 21 actually took legal action against them because of it, and they're just genuinely not the most ethical brand, and their staff are kind of notorious for being rude and dismissive and judgmental. But somebody came out, I don't remember who it was, but they basically told their experience about working or like auditioning for Brandy, and apparently they would hire a lot of very young girls, like girls around the age of like 13 and 14, to be their models or just kind of like be in stores and stuff like I'm not sure how it works, but they would hire very young girls to be like the face of the brand, and for people to kind of look at their body and be like, that's the body that these clothes fit in. And obviously their clothes cater to young adults and stuff, older teenagers and like young adults and stuff. Obviously they cater to like young teenagers and stuff like that as well, but the fact that they would take such young girls at 13 and 14, obviously their body is going to be so much more different and less developed than those who are like 18 to 23. Like somebody of legal age is not going to be as skinny as somebody who is 13. And the brand generally is just not, it's very obviously discriminatory against like different body types, and they just kind of get away with it. It's a bit confusing as to why they can get away with it when if any other brand did this, they definitely wouldn't. And everyone's just kind of accepted Brandy as this store who only caters to skinny people, but it's still such a widely supported brand that everyone shops from.
The thing is with making clothes that are one size, literally why? Like I don't understand why a brand would do that, because you are missing out on an entire market of people who would want to buy your clothes but literally can't because they can't fit into them, and they're just missing out on money from them. They're missing out on money. It is just so unethical to exclude an entire market of people just because of their body shape and tell them that they can't buy your clothes because they don't have the right body shape for them. Like, who decided that only like super curvy prepubescent bodies should have the right to fit into those clothes? Like, they're such nice clothes. As I keep saying, I literally love the clothes. Who gave the owners the right to decide like, oh, we're only gonna let like really skinny tall girls fit into them? It's so wrong and it's so damaging. If your clothing brand is making people cry about their bodies when they're healthy, there's a problem.
So the next thing I want to talk about is annoying people. People have been going on Twitter, or I'm assuming Facebook as well, and saying that the word cis is a slur. Somebody on Twitter said, I loathe the term cisgender. It forces a gender identity on me that I didn't ask for, and forces me to be a part of a gender debate that I don't believe in. It makes me feel like my sex is a choice when it isn't. It trivializes what it is to be a biological female. I hate it. Why are people like this? There's another one that says, cis people did not agree to the term cis to describe themselves for not being transgender. It is not a term they use to describe themselves. It is not a term that they associate with their gender identity. It is used as a slur. It is used to discriminate and other a person. Do you know what is actually a term that is used to discriminate and other a person? The word tranny. Are you dumb? Cis people are not discriminated against in any way, shape or form. Nobody has ever made fun of a person because they are not trans. The word cis is not a slur. It is used to differentiate between people who identify with their birth sex and those who don't. I get that it introduces you to a gender debate in some way. I guess you could see it that way. But that is no reason to be so butthurt over being called cis. Like, if somebody asks you if you're cis or are you trans, you're gonna be like, actually I'm a biological female. So I'm not a cis female, I'm just a female. And that's how you're gonna call me. Shut up. Why are you so stupid? And there's this annoying ass radio host person, which I'm gonna play the clip of now.
If you are physically intact as a man, biologically intact, you're not in a women's prison. End of. End of. Nothing to discuss.
But also, if you are a woman in a woman's prison, you should be safe from being attacked by a cis or a trans woman. So actually, everyone should be safe in prison.
Can I just say, you're not allowed to come on my show and say a cis or a trans woman. A woman.
It just is
or
the
a
Latin
trans
opposite
woman.
of trans.
No. I'm not a cis woman. Vanessa is not a cis woman. We are women. We are biologically women. I am not going to have that BBC claptrap on my show. 50% of this population are women. We're not cis women. We don't have to adjust what we're called for a tiny minority of activists who don't even represent trans people.
So if I said non-trans woman, would that be
That would be equally.
acceptable?
If you say that, I'm going to ask you to leave my studio. I'm absolutely serious. I'm not having it. I'm not having our language in this country traduced in this way. I'm a woman. You are a man. I'm quite happy for someone to be a trans woman or a trans man, but you don't take away what I am because you choose to change your gender.
No, in
the
general,
two groups
I refer to you as a woman.
and trans woman.
Then that comes into the whole debate, are trans women women? And then it's a whole mess. The guy was just trying to be nice.
I'm not gonna get into it, but you're welcome for me ruining your day. Next thing I want to talk about is Nikita Dragun. Is this the last thing? Hold up. Yeah, so the last thing I want to talk about is Nikita Dragun, who posted a picture of her in pleasers, which are basically heels for strippers. And people got really mad at her because she has a history of being really discriminatory to sex workers. People are saying, take the fucking pleasers off, Nikita. If you've never walked in our shoes, you shouldn't be walking in our shoes. You're disrespectful to sex workers, but want so desperately to benefit off the sexuality of our attire. Don't forget, Nikita Dragun once said, I don't sell my pussy like those other hoes. That's why we don't like her wearing pleasers. And it's definitely true that she, like, her clothes in general, her fashion is very sexual, which there's nothing inherently wrong with. But if you're gonna be so disgustingly rude to sex workers, shut up and don't do that shit. Nikita tweeted saying, it's just heels. It's really not that deep. The girls are really pressed over the fact that I wear pleaser heels. My foot stays on the basic bitch's necks. Only bad bitches can wear pleasers. Let's change the narrative in society. I still don't see the problem with me wearing pleasers though. My trans mom is a proud sex worker and she taught me the power of a pleasure heel. I wear them for comfort, height and power that make me feel invincible. I have worn them on every red carpet and everyone begs me to wear a different shoe, but I don't care. Anyone who wears them is still a bad bitch. If they're such a bad bitch, why are you calling them out and why are you just being rude to them for being sex workers? These shoes were made for sex workers and you're gonna wear them while simultaneously not supporting sex workers. You can pretend you do by saying that your trans mom is a proud sex worker and she taught me the power of the pleasure heel. Like, okay, saying that you know somebody who is a sex worker doesn't make you any less discriminatory against them. It's the equivalent of somebody saying, I can't be racist, I have black friends. It's just so bizarre how every argument she has for every little bit of criticism that she gets is, I'm a bad bitch, you can't kill me. Do you know what you are, Nikita? Annoying. If you want to wear pleasers, you best respect other people who wear them for work. People have been responding to Nikita's tweets saying, babe, it's not the shoes, it's the fact that she only takes/uses the bad bitch and trendy parts of sex work. Yeah, she doesn't support us. Let's not forget she hired strippers, didn't pay them, and then only threw pink dollar bills with her face. Nikita, you are rich. If you're not going to support sex workers, then if you're gonna ask for their services, at least pay them. That is the bare minimum you have to do. I mean, I'd say the bare minimum is respecting people, but you're obviously very against that. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. If you liked me, please like and subscribe. If you didn't like me, you should probably get into contact with my teachers because I bet you'll have a lot in common. If you want to follow me on Instagram or Twitter, those will be in the description down below. And remember to stay safe and stay hydrated.